All right, everybody, listen up. Hello, York County. We're off and running with the second episode in our series of conversations with candidates up and down the 2026 ballot. And today, it is Rustin Terry. Rustin is running for the South Carolina House of Representatives in District 48. That's the Lake Wylie area. He's taking on Brandon Guffey. Brandon is the incumbent. Neither one of them has primary competition, so they're both headed directly to the general election in November. So let's get to it. Oh, hey, you can see my script. From the studio in the bonus room above the garage on the north side of Fort Mill, South Carolina, in the shadow of Charlotte, the buckle of the Bible Belt, and the foot of Mount Belzoni, this is the York County Democratic Party's YouTube show and podcast. We call it YCDP TV. So on the Zoom here with me is Rustin Terry, a candidate for, as I mentioned, representative for the South Carolina House in District 48. Rustin, welcome to YCDP TV.
Yes, Gary, this is good. I'm excited to be here.
Glad to have you here. Again, we're just kind of getting to know everybody who's going to be in the election, everybody that we can squeeze into the TV screen here. As I mentioned in the last episode, what I kind of want to cover here are those three P's: policy, which is what you want to get done; process, which is how you get it done, and at this point, how you get elected so that you can go ahead and get it done; and then the person, find out a little bit more about who it is that we are going to be electing. And I expect that this conversation will be kind of mixing all that up. It's not going to be really linear. And as we did in the previous episode, let's do a little civics lesson and teach people who need to know how this election works. As I said in the last episode, there are people out there who don't need to know. They could take us to both of us to school on civics, but most people don't live there every day. Most people don't have a good idea of this. So a little bit of a lesson. And yes, there's going to be a quiz. The quiz happens on November 3rd. That's the general election. All right. So
we're going to be ready for it, all because of the prep that you've delivered for us, Gary. So this is great.
I'm doing my best. Here's the civics lesson. You are running for the South Carolina House of Representatives. That is in the South Carolina legislature, and their official name is the General Assembly. And you are coming from the 48th House District. Let's take a look at the map of the 48th House District.
So it covers Lake Wylie up there in the north, going down to Allison Creek neighborhoods, and then over throughout the northern part of Rock Hill and all the area in between. So a lot of it borders right along Lake Wylie, and then going deeper into the neighborhoods further west.
Yeah, and up to the North Carolina state line at the top.
Up to the state line, that's right.
Yep. It's what I describe as a long, skinny district.
Yes, that is correct.
All right. And that is the 48th House District. There are 124 House districts in South Carolina. Each one has one House member, so there's 124 members in the House. 8 of those districts are here in York County. Most of them are totally included in York County. 2 of them overlap into our neighboring counties. There are 88 Republicans and 36 Democrats currently serving in the South Carolina House.
That's about to change real quick. We're going to get a lot more Democrats here soon.
I'm hoping that's going to be the case, and we'll talk about why that could be the case through the course of this conversation. There are, let's talk about the Senate just a little bit, just to be complete. There's 46 members in the Senate, 36 Republicans and 12 Democrats, which means at the moment, the Republicans have a veto-proof supermajority in both chambers. Not that Governor McMaster would ever veto anything that came out of his legislature, but if he were want to do that, they could override it if they wanted to.
I'll point out too, so depending on where you live, for me, my South Carolina senator is Wes Clymer, but he is not up for re-election this cycle. So just to add to the civics here, for the South Carolina House of Representatives, each member is up for re-election once every 2 years. But that's not the case for the Senate. So you may or may not see your state senator up for re-election this cycle, depending on where you live.
Actually, I don't think any senators are up for re-election.
None of them are. There we go.
They're on a 4-year cycle, unlike the U.S. Senate, which is a 6-year cycle. South Carolina senators are on a 4-year cycle, and it coincides with the presidential elections.
And I've been asked, well, how come, who's running against Wes Clymer in this case? And so, yes, to that answer, it'll be no one this election.
Okay, so once again, you have no Democratic opposition, so you skip the primary. We should mention the primary is on June 9th, so we want everybody to be prepared for that, plus the 2 weeks of early voting going into it and the potential for mail-in voting if you qualify. They call it absentee voting here in South Carolina. They don't call it mail-in, but that's what everybody thinks of it as. And I'm not a big fan of that. And the only reason I'm not a big fan of that is the post office is unreliable. Otherwise, I think it's fine. But if you want to get in South Carolina, you have to have your ballot received by the Board of Elections by Election Day. There's no grace period after it. And if you mail it in a week in advance, you got a pretty good chance your ballot's going to be late.
Yeah, you can drop your ballot off at the elections office in York. So if you don't want to rely on the United States Postal Service, you can just hand deliver it, but it has to be delivered to the York County Elections Office. You can't just drop it off at your polling place on Election Day. It has to go to the York County Elections Office.
Yeah, and if you're going to be doing that, well, you might as well go to your polling place.
Might as well just go vote.
Yeah, or what I really prefer is early voting. There's 3 locations this year in York County for early voting, and you can vote at any of them, not the one that's closest to your house.
Yeah, let me give a big push on that, actually, Gary.
Yeah.
Early voting is so helpful in the election process. It's just so that Democrats can know we've got our people in, they've voted, they've counted. We don't have to worry about everything on Election Day itself. So early voting is so helpful. As long as you've made sure that you're registered to vote. You don't need to register to vote early, but you just got to be registered to vote. Show up early, vote early. That's a great way to make sure that, hey, what if you get sick on Election Day? What if you plan on mailing in your ballot, but the post office is late? I don't want to discourage people who do rely on mail-in voting. For many people, that's the only way they can get their vote in for one reason or another. So please vote, even if it is mail-in voting. But yes, you have to be very careful about the timing on when you send it in. If you're too late, the post office may not get your ballot there on time. So
yeah, I would say give it at least 2 weeks, minimum 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And yes, and that would be for someone who's not mobile enough to be able to easily get to a polling place. Although if you go to a polling place and you can have somebody drive you, you don't have to be able to walk in. They will come to you out on the curb and bring the voting materials with them, and you can sit there in the car and take care of that. I've seen that happen several times.
Yep, they're great. They'll bring the voting machines out to your window. You just roll down your window, you vote right there. It's a great way to do it.
Yep. So your competition is Republican Brandon Guffey. He also has no primary competition, so he won't be in the June 9th primary either. Both of you guys heading to the general election. He was first elected in 2022, so he's now completing his second term in office, and that is the last time I'll mention his name. We're not here to publicize him. General election, of course, is Tuesday, November 3rd, so we got a ways to go for that, but it'll be here faster than we think. And if you're wondering where to find information on voting, find your polling place, things like that, I want to give a plug to our website, YCDP Well, YCDP.us is one of the URLs that will get you there, YCDP.us. We can't get YCDP.org or .com. Those are in use by somebody else, probably Pennsylvania or something. But I was able to get YCDP.us, although the one that we advertise most of the time is YorkSCDems.org. And we're an audio podcast as well as a YouTube show, so some people aren't seeing what's on the screen. But if you go there, you'll see a bunch of menu items. And in terms of figuring out where to go and when the early voting is, there's the section on voting in York County. As I mentioned, I don't know who that guy is, that picture.
Look at that great looking guy right there. I hope you're watching this on video, audience, because there's some great pictures here.
What I want to do is not exactly a contest. Maybe it'll become a contest. If you want to submit a picture to replace this ugly guy, send me your picture against some voting backdrop, and preferably with the I voted sticker and the vote here sign, either on your clothes or somewhere nearby in the picture. Send me what you would consider to be an iconic voting picture, and we'll replace that one. And then we slide down on the website, and you can find out all the deadlines and information on voting and stuff. But particularly the early voting, let's go see where that is happening. There we go. Someplace called Carolina's Cornerstone. That is at the very northwest edge of, it says Fort Mill. It's actually not in the incorporated town of Fort Mill, but it's nearby. The Fire Training Center in the city of York, and a Holiday Inn in Rock Hill. So those three locations, addresses there on the screen. Once again, go to their website and then the voting page, and you can find out.
And Gary, do you know, can you do early voting at the York County Elections Office this cycle?
No. And that's it. I did early vote there in probably the first election, my first election, because I moved here in 2021. And then it hasn't been available for elections as an early voting site. Nor can you vote there early or vote there on election day, except if you want to bring in your mail-in ballot. You can bring that in and drop it off. If you bring in a mail-in ballot and drop it off, you will have to accompany it with the same stuff you would bring to the polling place, your picture ID. They won't just take the ballot. I guess that is what I read. That's it. That's all that's in my script.
Okay, perfect.
It's free form from here on.
Okay.
Oh, let me check. I made a title for you here.
I've got an unusual name, Rustin Terry. Rustin is my first name. Terry is my last name.
Yeah, you're backwards.
You got it all correct here. You got it spelled correctly. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Do you ever do like Rusty? Does anybody give you a nickname?
I was Rusty as a kid. My mom calls me Rusty to this day. Gary, I will let you call me Rusty if you'd like.
I'll stick with Rustin. I mean,
okay.
If that's what all the adults in your life are doing these days, except for mom. Let's start with a bit of policy. What are the most important issues to you in running for this election?
Right now, this year, so last January, we had people in South Carolina who are struggling with their health care bills, health care debt. They have medical debt. And a lot of people in South Carolina were on the Medicaid subsidies. This is dollars coming to South Carolinians to help them with their medical bills, particularly for the people who are most desperate. Well, Republicans just canceled Medicaid subsidies. And what that means is we have 500,000 South Carolinians who got a letter this last January saying that their insurance premiums were going to rise because Republicans canceled the Medicaid subsidies. This is part of Obamacare. For whatever reason, Republicans cannot handle Obamacare. It has the word Obama in it, so it doesn't matter that it's hurting South Carolinians. They want to cancel it. And this is going to hurt South Carolinians.
Now, technically, that is what the Affordable Care Act.
The Affordable Care Act. Yeah. The Affordable Care Act. And it literally is that. It makes care more affordable. And this is really going to hit close to home for South Carolinians, particularly those that are most desperate. There is a solution available to us. The solution that we have here in South Carolina is we can expand Medicaid expansion. What is Medicaid expansion? Well, if you go through your federal income tax and you look at where your tax dollars are coming every time out of your paycheck, part of that goes into Medicaid expansion. But for whatever reason, Republicans here in South Carolina refuse to accept these dollars that are already in a fund. There is $2 billion sitting in a fund with South Carolina's name on it that Republicans in South Carolina have refused to accept. So where does that money go? Dollars from our paychecks here in South Carolina are going to other states to pay for their Medicaid expansion. We are helping other people in other states, but Republicans have refused to accept these dollars in our own state here. This is ridiculous. All that it takes to solve this is just a vote in the South Carolina legislature to accept Medicaid expansion here at home. In this way, it would solve this problem that so many people here at home have. There's dollars already sitting out there to solve this. We just need a vote to accept this and help pay for people's medical costs here in South Carolina.
So this wouldn't raise your taxes.
This would not raise taxes. This is a very fiscally responsible thing to do in that it is using dollars that are already sitting out there. We've already paid into this fund.
Yeah, the money already
need to use it.
Money already came from South Carolina and every other state to the federal government, and then it can come back.
It would come back.
To hear that described in that way, we send the money to the federal government and then they send it back. That seems like we got a middleman that we don't need.
Fine. If people have a better way to help those who are most desperate, we'd love to. We can build upon it. A lot of people will want to poke at the Affordable Care Act. A lot of people want to say, hey, I don't like this part of it. I don't like that part of it. We are fine on building upon what we have. That's great. What is not fine is to do the fiscally irresponsible thing of sending our dollars elsewhere and not accepting them when they're available to help people who are most in need here in South Carolina. This is what Republicans in South Carolina are doing. It is extremely fiscally irresponsible to play with our dollars this way. And the worst part of it is hurting people here at home, both Republicans and Democrats who are desperate in need of these healthcare funds are hurt by this. And I'll build on this even more. There are estimates that if we were to actually accept these Medicaid expansion funds into the state, so this is $2 billion a year, more than $2 billion a year, compared to our state budget of $15 billion a year. This is a big chunk of money. This would not only resolve healthcare issues and problems for people who are struggling. This would create jobs here in South Carolina. This would hire more nurses, more doctors, more medical workers, as well as other businesses that support the medical community. It would be a huge economic boost here in South Carolina to get such a boost in funds, not to say nothing of the healthcare benefits that we would get from it. It would be a huge boost to the economic healthcare industry here in South Carolina for workers in South Carolina who need these jobs. This would raise additional South Carolina tax revenue, $100 million a year, $100 million a year would be boosted in South Carolina taxes. We could pay for schools here in South Carolina. We could pay for a number of things here with this economic boost.
So where would that money come from? Is that because people would be making salaries based on that $2 billion coming in?
That's exactly right.
And then paying income tax because they had jobs.
That's exactly right. It's super straightforward. It makes sense. Republicans are scared of the word Obamacare. That's the only reason
that they won't do it is because it's a Democratic plan.
Amazingly, the Affordable Care Act originated as a Heritage Foundation Republican plan. Barack Obama took that and said, hey, we can make this work. And all of a sudden, Republicans stopped liking it anymore. But yeah, you're right, Gary. That's exactly how it played out.
Does whenever I get a headache looking at what's going on in Colombia and have a hard time figuring things out, is the Republican bloc like lockstep opposed to this, or are there any Republicans that are in favor of using this? They just can't get a majority.
Yeah, they have not even been able to get this out of committee and bring it up for a vote. That's the problem that we have. Here's what I'm very much looking forward to this election cycle. There is so much excitement for Democrats here in South Carolina. Democrats are going to win seats in the legislature this November. We will be able to, if we get the votes to do this, we will be able to bring Medicaid expansion up for a vote, something we've never been able to do yet here in South Carolina. We will be able to actually hold Republicans' feet to the fire. I believe that if we can hold a vote driven by Democrats newly elected this November, we can hold Republicans' feet to the fire and say, put yourself on record. Are you voting for the health care and of people here in South Carolina, or are you going to neglect those people? And I believe Republicans will not be able to refuse. They will, when their feet is held to the fire, they will vote for this. They will know that this is helping people here in the state, and ultimately we can get this passed if we can get enough Democrats in the South Carolina legislature to be able to bring it to a vote.
Okay, so we are hoping to get a lot more Democrats in, but I don't think we're hoping for a Democrat majority.
We won't get a Democrat majority.
But there'll be enough Republicans to join to cross the line.
That is correct. I don't believe we do not need to be able to have every single 100% Democrats in the legislature. That's fine. We just need to be able to get enough to be able to get some of these bills out of committee and get a vote on them. And then Republicans, I believe, will come around. They will have their own constituents saying, hey, I need help with my healthcare bills. I have a ton of medical debt. Even for the Republican representatives that are there, they will listen to their own constituents. And I believe that we'll be able to get this passed.
All right, that's a good one. But as a single issue thing, it's probably not enough. What else are you looking at?
Yeah, so in York County, we've got some real problems with the roads here. We have the funds to pay for roads, but there's so much infrastructure challenges, and a lot of the challenges that we get are in battles, unnecessary battles between York County and South Carolina state government. If you follow Andy Litton on Facebook, if you follow our current Republican District 48 Representative Brandon Guffey, you will find them constantly arguing on Facebook about who should pay for the roads here in York County. It is ridiculous that our government officials argue on Facebook on how to fund roads here in York County. We have a way to solve this. York County and South Carolina state government should be working hand in hand. They should not be seeing each other as enemies. They should not be arguing on Facebook about who should be paying for these roads. There's a way that we do this in South Carolina. We have the South Carolina Association of Counties, the SCAC. This is built to help counties and the state government work hand in hand to solve problems like infrastructure, to solve problems like the roads we have. I was out visiting some Democrats in York County just yesterday. There's this enormous pothole in the neighborhood road, and the only solution they had was someone to grab an orange cone and put it in the middle of the pothole. To be like, hey, careful, drive around this thing. I have no idea why the York County government and the state government cannot work together in solving the road problem. But they choose to just argue with each other on Facebook, of all places. We need to prioritize our infrastructure. We need to prioritize our roads. We need to do it starting from a place of collaboration between the county government and the state government. Particularly the SCAC is the way to start.
All right. two good policy areas that affect the people that live right here. And apparently, clearly, you have been paying attention to civics and local government. Let's get a little background. Tell me about who Rustin Terry is.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to the person part. This is good.
We're gonna go back and forth. We're gonna
there we go.
slide around.
Yeah. Let me give a little bit of background about myself as well. So I'll start with my wife. She is a school teacher here in York County at Clover School District. She teaches 5th grade math. She does such a great job. A lot of people in the community know her through teaching their kids. And I'm excited for her. She recently became Dr. Terry, getting her doctorate degree from the University of South Carolina. I'm very excited for her. My wife and I have 3 kids, all of which have gone through public schools here in New York County, the Clover School District. I have a son who is about to head over to Clemson. We are very excited for him. So a lot of experience in the public school system here, and a lot of familiarity with how the schools operate here. I work in tech, so I work for a company called Credit Karma. It's a company where you can download the app, and it'll help people who are struggling with their credit scores, help them to improve their credit scores. One of the things that I see is so many people struggling with medical debt. Medical debt for people who have been doing everything right, and then all of a sudden they get a phone call from their doctor with a diagnosis, and all of a sudden there's medical bills, there's medications, there's doctor visits they have to pay for, and it's a huge struggle on the medical debt side. So I've worked a lot in tech. I approach things from a very data-driven perspective. That's how I want to approach this role in the South Carolina legislature. I wanted to share too a bit of a personal story that as well. So the concern on the medical expenses and the medical challenges that a lot of people struggle with, and all of us, Gary, you know people in this situation. I know people in this situation, and there can be a real struggle. 2 years ago, I walked into the hospital. It was the Medical University of South Carolina, knowing that when I would leave, I would only have one kidney. I was donating a kidney to a stranger, a young father and fellow South Carolinian had recently been told that he had kidney disease and he needed a transplant. So I raised my hand to volunteer. It is important to me to give back in ways that I can. And I walked into that hospital with his benefit in mind. When I later woke up in that hospital bed and the doctors told me that the surgery had gone well, I later walked down the hall and I got to meet him, his wife, and his family for the first time. There were lots of hugs. There were lots of tears. His mom was there. She came up and gave me a really big hug. And he came and told me, "We are now kidney brothers." And I thought, that's great. We are kidney brothers. What was once an enormous struggle for him, what was once a death sentence for him, he now had hope. He now had the ability to get back to work. He now had the ability to take his family on vacation. And this is the kind of hope that I want to be able to deliver in Columbia. There are so many people who struggle with medical challenges. There are so many people that struggle with the medical finances and medical debt that come along with that. And I want to be able to make sure that everybody can have that same hope that this young father had, my kidney brother, and being able to bounce back financially as well as health-wise, and to be able to live his best life for his wife and family going forward.
Yeah, that story says, first of all, a lot about you as a person. That's an awesome story. Because there's no benefit to you to do that. Yeah, it wasn't a family member, nobody that you already knew. How many of us would be willing to do that?
I'll expand it beyond that, Gary. Jumping in. I'll expand it beyond that. I believe you, me, and everyone listening to this, they want to give back in ways that they can. For some people, it's a kidney. For other people, it's blood donations. For other people, it's contributing to a charity. It's getting involved in the county Democratic Party. I've talked to some great people here in York County who their way to give back is putting solar panels on their roof. I believe everybody wants to give back. And what the story that I share, I believe, is representative of everybody listening here. They want to be able to give back and contribute in their own ways. And I applaud them in those efforts.
There is a way to do something like that would literally affect everybody, because especially when we're talking about medical debt, and that is to have some form of universal health care in the country. Now, that is not something that you can affect as a South Carolina state legislator, but what is your feeling about that in general? Would you like to see some form of universal health care, single payer? That would go well beyond your primary goal, which is to get South Carolina to accept the Medicare benefits.
Right. There are some fantastic plans out there. There's different versions of plans like that. Medicare for all. There's Medicare for all who want it. And then there's different versions of this. I would love to push us in that direction. Does it mean South Carolina will get to Medicare for all? Does it mean that South Carolina will get to Medicare for all who want it? My philosophy on this is let's push in the right direction, and that's the direction I want to push in. In my mind, the first step there is getting the Medicaid expansion dollars here back to South Carolina, reclaiming our own tax dollars for that purpose. So yes, the answer to your question is yes. I want to move in that direction to the extent that we can here in South Carolina. I don't want to get discouraged at by the fact that we cannot. We still have to work with other people in this state to be able to accomplish those things. That discouragement should not dissuade us. We should be pushing in that direction as far as we can for South Carolina.
Your district is, past couple elections, an R+20, R+25.
Yeah.
I'm going to call that an uphill battle.
Oh, I'm optimistic.
I was asking Claude AI to sort of analyze the district for me, and those are the words it came up with. No big surprise. Uphill battle.
Yeah, that's right. So we have 124 Democrats running for each seat within the South Carolina House of Representatives. Some of them are going to be long shots. Some of them are going to be real competitive. Across the board, we are going to win Democratic seats throughout this election. A lot of those will be in those seats that we had considered competitive. A lot of those will be in seats that we had considered long shots. Let me talk about the environment that we are currently in. So there is so much enthusiasm for Democrats across South Carolina. There is so much enthusiasm and excitement for Democrats across the country. A month or two ago, you might have seen in the news a special election in a Florida House district. This is the House district that Mar-a-Lago sits in. This is a similar, previously been thought of as a strong Republican district. It about matches the district that I'm in, District 48, in terms of lean for Republicans. This once considered stronghold Republican district that Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago sits in was won by a Democrat in this most recent special election. Emily Gregory won her election there and flipped it from Republican to Democrat. It was a tough battle. It took a lot of hard work. It took a lot of contributions and funds. And it was powered by the excitement and the enthusiasm that Democrats have across this country and across South Carolina as well. That's what delivered this flip over to the Democrat. So, yes, is it going to take a lot of hard work? Yes. Is it going to take funds? Yes. We can do it. We can do it. And so that's why I'm running to capitalize on all of the excitement and all of the enthusiasm that we are seeing across South Carolina.
Now, I think that's what's got Democrats in South Carolina and in York County in particular very energized. This is the first time we will have a candidate for every state house seat in York County. And with the wind at our backs of those special elections that we've been seeing that have either elected Democrats in otherwise pretty heavily Republican areas, or at least made a big, narrowed the gap tremendously. We got that energy behind us. We got that hope, which is great. Again, without having to compete in the primary, your focus will be on the general election. So are you gearing up now, or do you feel like you've got a little bit of time before you totally ramp everything up?
There's very little time. There's very little time. So we got roughly 6 months or so until the November election. Yes, there's a primary in there, but 6 months is a very short amount of time. We need to run hard. We need to run hard, and we need to run fast. The remaining months between now and November are going to zip by us very quick. So the ask from myself, as well as everybody else in York County and South Carolina listening, is to find your Democratic candidate that is running near you. Help them out. They are going to need help. I'm going to need help. And this help is going to come from people knocking on doors and contributions. We need the volunteers and we need the donations. That is how we are going to really capitalize on the enthusiasm that we currently have. We do not have a lot of time. Even with a primary still yet to arrive for us, there's not a lot of time. This is going to move quick, and so we need to move fast. The big piece here is that Republicans are way ahead in terms of fundraising already. Republicans are way ahead. That's okay.
They started way ahead.
We will get there, but it is going to require donations. There is a big ask across the board on donations for your Democratic candidates. And Republicans have a head start on this, so we need to move. We need to move fast.
Yeah, I haven't looked at the financial numbers for the state house candidates, but I did look at the numbers for the congressional candidates, which is Andrew Clough, Mallory Dittmer as Democrats for the U.S. Congress, and Wes Clymer as a Republican for U.S. Congress. Mallory has not quite $90,000 that she reported in the first quarter. Andrew was at around $10,000, a little bit less. Wes Clymer is at $700,000 or $800,000.
Yeah,
I mean, just to give people a reality check. Mallory Dittmer at $80,000. Wes Clymer at $800,000.
What I will say is, in terms of timing, we are at a good point in the race right now where if you have not donated to your Democratic candidates nearby you, please, now is the time. Now is the time. And it is actually a great time, because this is where a lot of the printing costs for flyers that will be sent out, a lot of yard sign costs, a lot of mailer costs. This is the time to do it. For people who are interested, and I would encourage everybody to contribute something. It could be $5, it could be $20. For those that can, it could be $1,000. That $1,000 ask is really important as well. I want to push for each person where they are able to, regardless of what end of the, whether it's the $1,000 donation or whether it's the $5 donation. Go find the candidate's fundraising page nearby you and make that contribution. And then the next thing I'll ask is make that a monthly contribution. A monthly contribution is so impactful for the candidates. Do what you can. It may feel like, hey, it's not that much. It means so much, and it can go a long way. Make it a monthly contribution, and that way it'll be a real help now and throughout the rest of campaign season.
How long did it take you to get over the awkwardness of asking people for money?
One thing that people will find about me is I'm not afraid to ask for things that we need to ask for, and I bring this back to my roots where I'm happy to say what needs to get said. And for Democrats in this moment, this is what needs to get said. We need help in the contributions and finding your candidate site. In fact, Gary, will there be links to some contribution pages in the links here?
Yeah, well, we got them on our website. So
Perfect.
That's where I want to take people to the candidate page on the website. But that sort of leads me into looking at this. This is your Facebook page.
Yes.
And people can find you on Facebook. For those who are on Facebook, at the moment, I don't find an actual website for you.
Yeah, great. That's coming here in the next couple, by the end of this month, probably in the next few weeks.
Okay.
Here's what I want to say on the Facebook pages, though. I love it, and the reason why I love it is because people will share, they'll click like, and this actually gets the word out there. So. Yeah, on my side, the campaign page will be here soon. I do want to point people to their social media sites for all candidates. And not only just point them to it, click like on everything you see from a Democratic candidate. Click share on everything you see from a Democratic candidate. That has so much bandwidth that really spreads their message far. If you're the kind of person who just kind of looks at it and then scrolls past it, do something for your candidates. Click like, click share.
Yeah, everything they post. Click a like,
yeah,
or even better, I think the algorithm takes a heart a little higher than a like. I don't know. I don't work for Facebook, but I've been told that if you heart something, it hits a little harder than just a thumbs up like.
Every Democratic Facebook post deserves a heart.
Yeah. Now I'm old. I'm not as old as dirt, but but they were just starting to spread it around when I was born. Websites have been a thing for me since sometime in the 90s. You're saying, yeah, websites here, they're okay. Social media is where it's at. Not everybody loves Facebook, but if they're not on Facebook, they're probably doing Instagram or TikTok or YouTube or Facebook's Blue Sky.
Yeah.
I've refused to put Twitter X links on our website. I just think that's evil empire. I won't put a Twitter link on there, and I'm not even going to really call it X. I'll just keep calling it Twitter. Keep it silly. But all the other social media, if you got a social media presence, you'll find the candidate's social media link on the YCDP candidates page. So just go there and find all those links.
Perfect.
So once again, you're exhibiting like a real in-depth knowledge of all of the stuff that you're working on. How did you come by that? How long have you been like really activist oriented? Let me preface it with you had not been a candidate or a public office holder.
That is correct.
At all before.
Yeah, I'm coming at this role from the private sector. That is correct. But what I will say on this is, there's a lot of Republicans here in South Carolina. There's a lot of Republicans here in York County. I grew up in a household full of Republicans. I am a Democrat, and it continues to cause a lot of conversation, a lot of debate amongst my family, my friends, loved ones, people in my circle. I believe it is important.
You're the crazy Thanksgiving uncle.
I was the odd person out very often, and that's interesting. You use the word the crazy person, Gary, because I'm going to lean on that, and the reason being is actually the role that I believe I can play is speaking the language of Republicans, like being able to talk with people across this county, across the state, regardless if they are Democratic or regardless if they are Republican, being able to speak with them and listen and talk back in that same language, I believe these conversations all should come from a place of love, respect, and understanding. And I believe we can make a lot more progress here as Democrats, being able to work with Republican counterparts in a spirit of love, respect, and understanding. And we will make a lot of progress. We have to be able to speak the language of any audience that we're talking to, whether they're Republicans or whether they are Democrats. I speak a lot I use the words of fiscal responsibility quite a bit. And when we were just talking about Medicaid expansion, to me, that is a fiscally responsible thing to do. We are sending our tax dollars to other states. We need to do the fiscally responsible thing and bring those dollars back here to South Carolina to help people in need here in York County and across the state. And so when we're talking about my background, the thing that I would call out is being able to talk with Republicans, work with Republicans, and stay strong to our democratic values throughout that process.
Was there a turning point in your life that you decided to become activist? Were you activist in high school? Is activist the right word?
Activist is that is a perfect word. I'll take it. I think it's probably been a slow growing thing on my side. I couldn't point to any particular thing. The one thing that has been very encouraging this election cycle that has pushed me as someone who has spent my time in the private sector to run this race is because we are in such a pivotal moment this election year. This is the year where there is so much excitement, there's so much enthusiasm for Democratic candidates. Republicans are going to be licking their wounds after this election cycle, as long as we work hard and deliver the campaign funds to make it happen. Those are the key ingredients, and this is the time to make it happen.
Did you see the snowball forming and running down the hill toward you, or did you wait until it hit you and caught you up?
It was definitely the York County Democrats saying, "Hey, I've got a good idea for you, Rustin. We've got a race that you might want to run." And I said, "All right, let's go. I'm ready."
Do you have ambition to be a candidate for other offices and make this something to go on with? Eventually, maybe Congress or other.
I'm very focused on this House of Representatives. If I were to spend time in the South Carolina House of Representatives, I would be very happy. The ambitions that I have beyond that are for Democratic candidates throughout the state and throughout York County. I don't want this to just be a campaign that delivers a win for me. I want Democrats to win across York County and across South Carolina. We have so many good candidates. I want to make sure that the role that I am playing in this race also impacts other voters who are kind of on the fence whether they're going to show up or not and vote Democratic. I want to play the role and use my voice to push those people to get out to the polls, make sure that they vote. And the ambitions that I have are, let's not have this just a win for my race. Let's win across the board in York County and South Carolina.
What I like to ask people about is the couple of minutes before they made the commitment to themselves or to someone else to become a candidate. The moment that they did that, and then how they felt in the moments afterwards. Do you remember where you were, what you were doing when you said, and was it like, oh, okay, I'll do it? Or was it, damn it, yes, full speed ahead?
I'll tell you what. We've already passed the filing deadline, so this will be comments or suggestions for the next election cycle when others find themselves in a similar situation of, should I run for this office or not? The immediate thoughts that you have before you make that decision is, okay, let me think about, okay, how am I going to make this work? I've got this thing I need to get accomplished. How can I do that? There's a lot of thoughts and nervousness, perhaps, of trying to decide to jump into the race or not. What you will find, and this goes to anybody who's thinking about this, is as soon as you say yes, all of a sudden you've got so much support around you. The Democrats in New York County are so supportive. They're so enthusiastic. They want to help. They are going to make this a win. And that is so comforting. That is so encouraging for me personally to be able to see that all the people around who are ready to go. There's volunteers who are ready to go. We just need people to say yes and sign up to run. So what I would say is, yeah, people who are thinking about this for the future, there may be some nervousness. There may be some prolonged consideration. As soon as you say yes, there's a lot of excitement, a lot of enthusiasm to move forward. And that's what it's all about. So my push for people who are considering this for next election cycle, do it. You will have the support you need.
Okay, well, that tells me what happens in the few minutes after you made the decision. But how long did you have to mull it over? I mean, I really want to dig out a little bit of Rustin here.
I probably mulled it over for a couple of weeks. I talked with my wife on it. We had to work through some logistics. I talked with some the great folks at York County Democrats to just talk through, like, okay, help me through some of the specifics. So there were a lot of good conversations there.
Yeah, they've got some candidate school, I believe. Did you take advantage of any of that?
Yes. There are great candidate candidate school is probably the appropriate term. From South Carolina, there's some great trainings at the national level as well, and there's so much support. So those are like more of the formal and official support, which is fantastic. It's great. If you are thinking about this in the future and you're wondering, I just do not know how to do this, that should actually be one of the least of your concerns. There's the support and the help to help you figure that out. There's trainings. They're online. They're on Zoom. They're with live groups, so you can ask questions. There's a ton of support from South Carolina. There's a ton of support at the national level as well.
What is your ground game going to look like? You have one already, or is it just kind of coming together?
Yeah. Well, it will certainly evolve. A lot of it is there's two big parts to this. One is the fundraising side, and then one is the get out the vote side. So on the fundraising side, and that's the name of the game, particularly at this point. So I've got a meet and greet coming up here soon in Lake Wylie, where we'll be meeting up with Democrats in the area, or I keep saying Democrats, but I'm also very focused on Republicans who are tired of Republicans. This audience as well, Republicans who are just tired of Republicans. I'm getting a lot of support from them as well. So I've got a meet and greet coming up Wednesday, May 13th at 7:00 at the River Hills Marina in Lake Wylie. And a lot of this is meeting people, having these get-togethers, fundraising, telling the story. One of the great ways to reach out to people is smaller meet and greet style get-togethers. So you have a supporter, somebody who wants to help. Great, invite a dozen of your friends or neighbors to your house, and I will come and talk to them and help get out the word in these small get-togethers as well. So for anyone who's listening who would like to help, we need volunteers, we need donations. Another great way as well is these smaller, invite a dozen people to your house, invite the candidate over, and a meet and greet at that level as well.
Okay, so the link that we've got for you is to your Facebook page.
Yes.
Is that the place for people to go, or house to reach you to say, I want to help?
Yes. Facebook is great. Let's point people to that. There'll be other sources here as I build them up in the coming weeks, but I would point people there.
Okay. And once you've got them, as you have anything, just let me know. We'll get it on the web page.
Perfect.
For those who still look at web pages.
Gary, you're not that old, are you?
76. That's kind of intermediate. You know, when I was in my 60s, it was like, I don't feel old at all. Okay, I feel old now, but I don't feel 80s old. I feel 70s old. All right. Is there anything else that has been crossing your mind to say, I wish we talked about this? You will discover things once we're done, but anything now?
The one thing I'll close with, Gary, is I'll just give a big thank you to you, a big thank you to the York County Democrats organization. There's so many people who have been so helpful, and I very much appreciate it. A big thank you to all of the individuals who have reached out and say, hey, I want to help. Hey, I want to donate. It means so much to me. I just have so much gratitude for the people who want to help in their own way and reach out and pitch in. It is so appreciated. They are doing such great work here in York County and South Carolina. Thank you very much to all of them.
All right. We have been talking to Rustin Terry, who is a candidate, Democratic candidate for South Carolina's House of Representatives from District 48, the Lake Wylie area, I guess is the easy way to say it. And thank you very much for coming on here on YCDP and talking to us. And we will continue with these candidate interviews. I got a few more stacked up throughout the week, and I'll be reaching out to more, hopefully get everybody who is interested in a presentation, because I think we got to know you pretty well here.
This has been great. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. This is fantastic.
This is the York County Democratic Party's YouTube show and podcast. We call it YCDP TV. There's this title coming over your face first, and then it covers up my face. We'll see everybody on the next show coming up soon. Over and out.